that having regard to the color of my skin and my station in life, that I would never be welcome as a guest through the big gate at Blue Hill Road or up the steps with the longest stood. The first time I remember entering that gate was years later as a reporter for the Nassau Daily Tribune. The previous evening, I had covered the presentation of basketball awards on the Prairie grounds when I had the then governor pose for a picture as he presented a trophy to the winning team. As fate would have it, my flash bulb did not go off. At the event at Government House, the next evening, I had the same camera, one of those big speed graphics you see in old movies, and there was the same governor presiding, and he looked straight at me and said, "Oh, you again." I managed to keep my composure. I wet the tip of the flash bulb with my tongue. I inserted the bulb into the socket of the camera's flash apparatus. I made the focus and aperture adjustments, and then I pressed the button. The bulb went off with a big crackling flash. It was a moment of triumph. Some 2 decades later, I was sitting in Marlborough House in London with another British governor of the Bahamas, but along with delegations of Bahamians, including 2 of my distinguished colleagues here present this evening, the Honorable Lady Hannah of Turnquest. We were then negotiating a constitution for our Bahamas, which would, amongst other things, make it possible for the first Bahamian to sit on Mount Fitzwilliam as representative of the monarch. The Venerable Patriarch Samira Butler became the first Bahamian to occupy the office of Governor General of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. In due course, I became number 8. I experienced a flood of recollections and emotions when on the morning of the 14th of April 2010, I took the oath of office of Governor General of the Bahamas and proceeded almost immediately to Parliament Square to read the speech from the throne and preside over the opening of a new session of the Bahamas Parliament. This office had, in 1973, ceased to be a bastion of imperial domination and was now a symbol of national unity and pride and the premier institution of our Bahamian parliamentary democracy with its cabinet government and its judicial system. Some of us can become confused sometimes, as I mentioned earlier, by the constant media exposure of the governmental affairs of our American friends, and are tempted to promote the importation of ideas and nomenclature from the political culture which either do not readily fit into our own or which are already well entrenched in our system. I was delighted, for instance, when I heard Mr. Andrew Allen, in a letter to the press, describe the advocacy of term limits in our system as a solution looking for a problem. We also need to be reminded how the principles of checks, because we hear this all the time on the radio, we need checks and balances in our system. We also need to be reminded how the principle of checks on political power is already well entrenched in our system, having evolved since Magna Carta in 1215, and how so-called balances can also result in gridlock. We are all well aware of the ceremonial aspects of the office of Governor General, but as important as they are, the office entails a great deal more than the ceremonial. I said in my admission speech in July that our Constitution is replete with institutions and processes designed to preserve our form of government, to ensure our rights and freedoms, and to protect us from arbitrary rule and its inevitable abuses. At the apex of most of these institutions, at the culmination of most of these processes, sits the office of Governor General, an office that is a source and symbol of unity and stability, an office that is above the necessarily contentious arena of partisan politics. As you know, the head of state of the Bahamas is Her Majesty the Queen, in whom is vested the executive authority of the Bahamas. The monarch is actually also a constituent part of the Parliament of the Bahamas. She is represented in the Bahamas by a Governor General whom she appoints to carry out her responsibilities and exercise her privileges. Article 80 of the Constitution provides that the Governor General is kept fully informed concerning the general conduct of the government, and the Governor General therefore receives all cabinet papers and related documents. It is not in the Constitution, but there is a convention that the head of state has the right to advise, to warn, and to encourage the government. One of the most important responsibilities of a Governor General is to see that there is at all times a government in place in the Bahamas. The Constitution of Article 73 prescribes how the Governor General is to proceed when there is occasion for the appointment of a Prime Minister and other ministers. Fortunately for us, the results of elections have made this an uncomplicated task for Governors General. Up to now, elections have resulted in clear-cut majorities for one of the two major parties, and the leader of that party is called upon to be the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister then advises the Governor General on the appointment of other ministers, and so a government is formed. Another important function of the Governor General is the bringing into force of bills passed by Parliament, or by assenting to them in Her Majesty's name and on Her Majesty's behalf, and signifying such assent by signing them. Provisions for this are set out in Article 63. I'm going to tease you a little bit now. I'm not sure how many people are aware of a provision I will now read. It is Article 63, bracket 4 of the Constitution. And it says this: when a bill is presented to the Governor General for assent, he shall signify that he assents, or that he withholds assent. Unlike the swearing-in of government ministers, bills are usually signed by Governors General in the privacy of the office of the Governor General. Last year, I thought there was an opportunity for instruction as well as celebration when I suggested to Prime Minister Perry Christie that a Governor General should, I believe for the first time, publicly signed into law an important act of Parliament. It was the act to commemorate the achievement of majority rule with a public holiday. The Governor General has a host of other responsibilities and duties relating to appointments and other matters referred by various commissions and authorities. Provisions for the exercise of the powers of the Governor General are set out mainly in Article 79, which among other things provides that the Governor General may refer back for consideration any recommendation made by the person or authority concerned. All of which, as I indicated earlier, is to secure the orderly, just, legal, and constitutional conduct of the affairs of the nation and to guard against arbitrary government. The ceremonial role of the Governor General helps to unite the country. The constitutional functions of the office provide a number of checks in our parliamentary democracy. The two roles are essential and have helped to provide stability and decorum in what is often a necessarily rambunctious political process. It is in significant ways the Governor General who is a symbol of unity which we recite in our pledge of allegiance. I consider myself most fortunate to have served as Governor General, and I thank you again for inviting me to this forum.
Thank you very much, Mr. Arthur. I would just like to recognize one or two people here, and not recognize you all, but lady folks, welcome. It's good to see you. I'm happy you were able to make it. Lady Darling, I will not forget you. Lady Darling is the one who gave us our exhibit on little lions. And I've been threatening her for a long time. I said, you need to come into this museum so that I can take your picture next to it. You will not leave here tonight unless I do that. Thank you very much. So please welcome her. We have invited some dignitaries and people from the cabinet, from the Senate, so from the House of Assembly. If any of you are here, please raise your hand and we welcome you and we honor you. We just thank you for gracing us with your presence tonight. I'd also like to single out Dr. Philip Ranning, and I told him wherever I'm presiding, he would be mentioned. Wave, please. So please, let's welcome him. I'll be very happy to have him. And so again, I welcome all of you. If I miss anybody, I may see you again when I put on my glasses and sit down. So we'll ask our next speaker to come, and that will be Sir Alden Turnquist. Thank you very much. Let's welcome him.
Okay, Mayor Jumon, the Honorable Arthur D. Hanna, Sir Arthur Folks, Lady Darling, Madam President and officers and trustees and volunteers of the Bahamas Historical Society, ladies and gentlemen. On the 3rd January 1995, I was appointed Governor General and thus became the 5th Bahamian Governor General of the Bahamas. 6 years and 11 months later, on the 13th of November 2001, I retired and demitted office. While the role and the duties of a Governor General is seen as ceremonial, and there are many occasions of pomp and pageantry, There